Am I back at Bottle Logic? What is this?
I got that on camera.
Perfect.
What's going on, beer lovers? Welcome to another episode. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob. And today we're here in San Diego, finally visiting the big, large, famous Alesmith Brewing Company.
Now, this is a big name in Southern California, as well as the world over, I feel like.
Yeah.
They've been around for a very long time. They've won 1 million awards, and they're a huge name in San Diego. We've been putting off visiting them for a really long time, but we decided finally, what the heck, let's get down here and get it done. So, Jacob, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's have some beer. Alright guys, so get ready because here's your history lesson on Alesmith Brewing Company. It all started in 1995 in San Diego, California by two men, Skip Virgilio and Ted Newcomb. They started this brewery from scratch and built it up. In 2002, Peter Zane took over as head brewmaster and owner of Alesmith, and since then, they've blown up. So come 2015, Peter Zane has really built up this brewery, and they decided to expand. Well, their expansion is the tasting room that we're in right now, and they've only blown up even more since then. I read somewhere that they produce somewhere around 25,000 barrels of beer a year. That is absolutely huge, and I feel like I'm not drinking enough Alesmith. So now I'm really excited. Speedway Stout is one of the beers that they are most famous for. That's how Jacob and I know them. I've tried quite a few of the variants as well, but today we're gonna get to try all kinds of different styles, a lot of which we've never had before. So I'm excited to take you along for the ride. Let's get tasting.
So on my way over, I was joking with Jeff that my flight was going to consist of nothing but Speedway Stout. As it so happens, the first of my Speedway Stout flight is going to be Celestial Dawn. This is a Speedway variant made with Celestial Dawn coffee from Modern Times. I think I've had more Modern Times coffee in beer than I have had in actual coffee. One of these days I should change that, but for now, let's have more coffee and beer. This was also one of the only Speedway variants that I got that actually had a nice frothy head. I don't know what that says about the rest of them, but we'll find out. So, it's probably good to mention right now that base Speedway Stout is 12%. In no barrels, just Speedway Stout, 12%. This is also 12% because it's just changing up the coffee. This is very smooth. I could drink this way too fast. This is nice. It's very creamy, which I think, that frothy creamy head really does play into the actual mouthfeel as well. That does make me worried about the other three that I'm about to drink, because they were not frothy looking whatsoever. But this guy is a great start. When you're starting your flight with a 12% coffee stout, I'm glad that I'm at least starting at this one because it is just, it's smooth. I don't know what else to say. This is just smooth, smooth, smooth.
All right, so my first beer up is not a Speedway Stout variant. This is a pale ale. It's called Orange X. It's a orange variant of their X Pale Ale, or 10. Jacob, do you know which one it is? Is it 10 or X? I don't know. It's like an iPhone, right? I don't know what you call it. But anyways, this is 5.25%. It's their X Ale, Pale Ale, with oranges. So I heard oranges. We're in SoCal. Sounded awesome. Sounded like a light beer to start with. So here we go. Cheers. Oh yeah. So guys, if you like oranges and you like that like rich Valencia orange kind of flavor, this has got it. The bitterness is really mild. The malt body is very mild. I mean, this is a light, crisp drinking beer. But that orange flavor is just so good. It reminds me of the Valencia Orange Blonde from Bootleggers. I had it a while ago at a beer festival. It was incredible. If you've ever been on Soaring Over California at California Adventure, and you remember that scene where you're like flying over the oranges, that's what this tastes like. It's awesome. It's a great way to start the day. I may already have a favorite, who knows?
Meanwhile, back in Speedway Stout land, a random Joel has appeared.
Hello.
Hey. So some of you may know him from his other beer exploits as Beer with Pleasant Strangers. I guess today I'm the Pleasant Stranger.
I see what you did there.
Technically it's you.
Yes.
Because you are the stranger to our audience. And enough of those corner jokes. Let's get into the next Speedway Stout variant, shall we? This guy is 2017's Double Barrel Speedway. The double barrels being bourbon and port, because bourbon wasn't enough. I got this because of your recommendation, so how did you like it? What was your experience with this?
I mean, I think this was the very first time they released a bottled version of Double Barrel Speedway, as it were. And I'm a huge fan of port. I know not everybody loves that raisiny, figgy, kind of weird, like, you know, fruitcakey kind of weird flavor that you get from some ports. Port's a really strong flavor, dominant too.
Definitely a dessert wine, and this is definitely a very sweet stout. I mean, bourbon on top of that is a sweet whiskey. So sweet whiskey, sweet wine, this is sweet beer. One thing I will note, I feel like this is almost lighter than the last Speedway I had. The last one was very creamy and rich. This is very sweet, but not very like thick.
Yeah, it has a kind of a thin mouthfeel. Not thin, but it's thinner than maybe what you would have expected from a Speedway variant.
A little bit, yeah. That's not bad to say. I'm definitely feeling the heat now. This is also at 13%, bumped it up a little bit.
It's kind of amazing how they magically all wind up at 13%.
It is a little strange.
Wondered what sort of voodoo is going on behind the scenes with these barrels, that they all come out to the same ABV. I think it's got a lot of awesome flavors going on in it for something that has no adjuncts. In the age of adjunct pastry stouts, if you will, Alesmith is still kind of holding up the standard of let's just throw barrels and leave it for long enough till it develops some rich tapestry of flavor.
This is a nice one. I enjoy this. And thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Thanks for letting me blow in on the podcast.
Wow.
Well, I know it may be strange being at a brewery and all, but you know, sometimes when I drink beer, I feel like a horny devil. And that's exactly what I'm drinking right now. This is Horny Devil. It's a Belgian Golden Strong Ale. It rings in at 10%. In all honesty, the name got me. I just think it's funny. And I love Alesmith's like play on words sometimes. But really, the beer style got me. It's been a while since I've had a strong ale. I feel like we live in a world filled with IPAs and bourbon barrel-aged stouts that you forget about these kind of styles. So I said, you know what, it's 10%, maybe middle of the day. Well, it's time to wake up, so here we go. Cheers. Wow. It drinks surprisingly light. The beginning is just very, very soft and mellow on the mouth. But as it sits on your palate, it almost like instantly heats up and those Belgian notes kick up. You get some really good like yeasty flavors out of it. The Belgian malts are fantastic. And then it finishes really strong. I mean, this strong ale really kicks in on the end. Actually, you know what? It almost finishes strong, and then it just kind of softens up right at the end. This is a really good, like, beer for 10% because it seems like the type that you would want to drink a lot of, but you kind of know it's strong, but it's not hard to drink. So I would say to my friends out there that I know that drink some beers just to get wasted, you would really like this one. It's easy drinking. It'll mess you up, but you still kind of have a grip on like what you're drinking. So, you know, for a strong ale, it's fantastic. For a Belgian ale, it's fantastic. Belgian strong ale, also fantastic. Cheers, Alesmith.
All right, so next up on this list is this year, 2018's Cinnamon Vanilla Speedway Stout. And my God, I haven't smelled a stout like this, I think, since I was at Week of Logic. This is straight up some Bottle Logic magic, except this is 13% instead of like a weird 12.5, which is, or like 13.5, which is all Bottle Logics somehow. Anyways, wow, yeah, just Christmas, cookies. Man, now let's get into this. Woo. That is spicy. It's not too spicy. It's actually, I feel like the smooth chocolate kind of takes over. I do just want to keep smelling it though. It's just it's a really delightful smell. I'm not sure if this is my favorite because I do feel like the cinnamon vanilla start kind of overpowering the coffee, and if you've seen any of our episodes, you should know I love coffee beers, like to a kind of absurd level. Like I want the coffee to smack me in the face. So maybe that's why I really enjoyed that first one, because just that Modern Times coffee was absolutely smacking me in the face. This is really nice though. I want to keep smelling it, and Jeff needs to try this.
Welcome to Let's Have Some Beer. Guess what I'm drinking? That's right. We are in September, which, well, actually now we're in October, and this is Oktoberfest from Alesmith. It's a German-style Marzen beer. It's 5.5%. I didn't bring my lederhosen today, unfortunately, but you know what? I wish I was in Germany right now celebrating this. I was there a couple years ago and it was incredible. And now any chance I get to try an Oktoberfest beer, I gotta do it. And I have not gotten to try Alesmiths yet, so I said let's do it. So, so here we go. Cheers. Oh God. Okay, so about a year ago, Jacob did an episode on Craft Cascade where him and I reviewed about 3 or 4 different Oktoberfest style beers from different breweries. I can tell you right now, I mean, it's been about a year, but I would say that this one would blow all those out of the water. The smoothness on this, I don't remember there ever being like a super smooth mouthfeel on any of the other ones that we tried. This is really, really smooth. On the nose, you're getting this beautiful, like, toasted cracker, breadiness. It's slightly sweet, and then just the mouthfeel, man. It's just like velvet on your tongue. It finishes really easy. Oh man, it's so good. I will tell you, back in Germany, the beers aren't 5.5%, they're like double that. But that's a good thing, because here, if I had a gigantic stein, I could be drinking these all day. So yeah, I'm a happy camper. Prost.
All right, now the final Speedway variant that I'm gonna try. There are more Speedway variants. I don't think my liver could take all of them in one day. Maybe?
Sure are trying.
I'm sure gonna give it a try. So the last one is gonna be the Rum Barrel Aged Speedway Stout. This is probably gonna be the most different out of all of them, just because rum itself gives such a different character than, you know, a sweet bourbon, sweet port, and definitely different than coffee. So let's go. Yeah, you can smell. It smells. I would say you can easily pick it out amongst all the other ones that this is something different. And it doesn't smell like it's like a different adjunct the way the cinnamon vanilla one did. This is definitely some sort of barrel character. Wow, that rum really takes over the beer. That's a lot of just rum barrel flavor. You do get some oak, I feel, but you get a lot of that rum. The coffee is kind of subdued, kind of like what happened in the cinnamon vanilla as well. And the port barrel, those sweetness definitely took over the coffee as well. Rum is just an interesting barrel flavor to get in beer. It doesn't happen very often, so when it does, sometimes it just throws you for a loop. It's definitely not for everyone, but I do like it, and it is nice. This is definitely, it's not difficult to drink. You definitely can tell you're drinking a big beer, but it's not, I feel it's not quite as warming as maybe that bourbon and port one was. When that one went down, I felt it just a little bit more. Even though technically these are all that magic 13%, this seems just a little bit less heat. I like it. This, I want food with it though. I feel like this would really pair just great with a meal.
Well, I got sick and tired of seeing Jacob review nothing but Speedway Stout, so what do you think my last beer is gonna be? This is Hawaiian Speedway Stout. It's a 12% Imperial Stout. It's brewed with coffee, vanilla, and coconut. I love coconut in stouts. I love coffee. I love all of it in stouts, let's be real. It's 12%, and you know what? I'm ready. I think I'm ready to go to the dark side, so here we go. Cheers. This is, I would say, a good 80% coffee flavor. I mean, this is very Hawaiian style coffee. It's got a hint of the like chocolate malts in the background that are very soft. The vanilla, I can't really pick up a ton of vanilla. It could just be that coffee's overpowering. It's probably there, but my palate's not quite picking it up. As for coconut, honestly guys, I'm not getting much coconut off this at all. It's mostly coffee. The good news is it's a damn good stout and the coffee is amazing. The cool thing that I like about coffee beers, especially when they're done right, is that the coffee flavors taste and smell like fresh roast, like you just walked into a coffee shop right as they grinded some coffee beans, and that's what I'm getting out of this. So we get to try a very, very special beer today. Our friend here, Joanna, she actually was kind enough to share a beer with us that's not even, releasing until this weekend for their special members. They have a membership called the Order of the Anvil. You can sign up here right at Alesmith Brewing, and it gives you all kinds of benefits, all kinds of special release access, and yeah, you get to try some awesome beers like this. So Jacob, what are we trying today?
So apparently this is Fruitsgeist, an 8% sour ale with passion fruit. Alesmith is not known for their sour beers because this is their first one.
First one, guys. First one.
I'm really excited to try this because not only is Alesmith such an old name in beer, I mean, I also really love sours, so combining these two for such an old brewery to come out with something new like this,
yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, and I traditionally don't like sours, so you're gonna know that I'm gonna give you a true, honest opinion. The good news is this being the first, you can't expect perfection, but they're planning on upping their sour program next year. They said they have numerous releases planned next year. So if you're interested, you gotta join the Order of the Anvil. We'll post the information on here. We'll post it in the description. Check it out. It's definitely worth joining. And with that being said, Jacob, you ready to drink this?
Oh, I'm ready. Cheers. Oh, that smells like oak. Wow. Okay, they definitely use passion fruit. Because you can absolutely taste the fruit. It's like I just bit into a passion fruit.
It's so true.
That is so much fruit. They did not skimp, let me tell you. Wow.
Sorry guys, I'm not saying a lot. I'm kind of speechless. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to articulate this. To explain it, definitely get a lot of fruit on the nose, huge oak characteristics for sure. I mean, my nostrils were just like lighting up. As soon as you dig in, it actually has a really soft body for a sour. I was expecting it to just punch right at my jowls, and it didn't. You get a ton of that fruit flavor, which yeah, I mostly get passion fruit out of that. Maybe something a little bit sweeter too. Not quite sure what it is, but I'm picking something else up.
I think I know what you mean. I was actually going to describe this like a passion fruit tea. This is almost like you're going to like a tea place and you're like, oh yeah, I want the one with passion fruit in it. Boom. There's just that initial first flavor. It's like a passion fruit tea, like with actual passion fruit chunks floating around in it, you know?
But regardless, it's good. It's not overly funky, which like I fear the funk. Sorry all you sour fans out there. I'm not a fan of the funk, and I do like the tartness of some sours, but if they're punching at my jowls, forget it. This is good. This is smooth sailing, and 8%.
It's 8%, yeah, which is a bit big for sour beers. Sometimes you get
like
a lot
5
of like
to 6
4 to
normally,
5,
right?
6, yeah, somewhere in that range. Sometimes they do go to 7 and 8. But this doesn't really feel too big. It doesn't really feel like you're drinking an 8% like a double IPA would. It's nice though, yeah. I like this.
I would be curious to see what their next batch of sours looks like. This is definitely just like, I feel like this is kind of a safe play, but it was well executed.
You say that, but passion fruit is really hard to pull off. Because if any of you, Joel and I were talking about this right before we actually tried the beer, is that passion fruit can smell like funky, BO,
like armpits. Yeah, I know that smell.
This could easily go really wrong, and I wasn't getting any of that kind of funky smell, like from the fermentation or from the fruit.
Yeah, that's true.
Smells like
it's the actual
like a tea
sweetness of the fruit, not the aroma. Yeah.
I think this is a good job.
I guess I can agree with that. I just. For me, the thing I'm looking forward to is I can just picture their sour program here like really blowing up if this is their first. That's what they're starting with. I mean, they're already well-seasoned brewers here, but to see them maybe come out with like a base sour and do like what Brewery does, where they add different fruit adjuncts to it and build on it. Oh my God, it'd be so cool to come back and like try fruit geist but with peaches, fruit geist with strawberries, fruit geist with pineapple and mango. Like that would just be killer. But I gotta say, for their first sour, they definitely knocked it out of the park. Well, we're gonna finish these up. We're gonna hold off on our favorite beer of the day because we're about to get a tour. And we're going to take you around this place because they got more than just a tasting room. They got a lot of special stuff here, and we want to take you along, so stay tuned. All right, so I'm here with John. He's the retail sales specialist here at Alesmith Brewing, and he's going to give us a tour of the whole place. So John, you ready?
Yeah, should we go?
Yeah, lead the way.
All right. This is our brewing system. It's an 85 barrel system. It's designed by a brewing manufacturer called Krones Steinecker, German company. We actually, interestingly enough, have the smallest system they've ever made. So they call this system custom because it's so much smaller. They make the system for Guinness and for quite a few
Just massive breweries.
massive German production breweries.
Their ceilings are 3 stories high.
Stone's Brewery in Berlin uses a Krones, and then Avery Brewing actually has pretty much the exact same model as us. They got it a little bit after us, but we kind of were a trendsetter with this size and scope of this system. Depending on how much volume we're going to make of it, we'll brew it 3 times in the same day.
Okay.
And we'll just load it straight into a fermenter. So we can make up to 255 barrels at a time off the 85 barrel system. So, there's usually a brewer here at 5 in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. And then depending on the day, if we're gonna do 4 brews in one day or something, then there'll be someone here till about 8 or 9 at night. But one of the coolest things is basically when we brew, we steep quite a bit of grain and end up having all of this spent grain. Yeah. And once we've separated that out in a water tun, rather than just throwing it away, we've actually started sending it to a dairy farmer in North County, San Diego. And what's happening, or what is going to be happening very soon, is that dairy farmer is going to send that dairy back to us
awesome.
because we have broken ground on setting up our own creamery. So we're going to be making cheese. Yeah, Cheese Smith. And if you go out in the
Cheese Smith.
If you go out in the gift shop, you might still be able to find some Cheese Smith shirts. We made an original
awesome.
run. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a total kind of closed system in the sense that we're brewing these recipes. We're brewing Speedway Stout, and then these cows are eating the recipe for Speedway Stout and then giving
producing
us
milk based on
that
it.
will pair perfectly with Speedway Stout. Yes. So it's a pretty cool concept. We don't know. There aren't many breweries in the United States that do something like that. That's kind of in the old European tradition of being craftsmen of multiple different trades. So oftentimes brewers would also make something else and specialize in something else. So that's our goal with that, is to have cheese as well. Behind you is all these barrels. One of the coolest things I think about the history of Alesmith is our barrel program. We have definitely one of the very first barrel programs in craft beer, especially on the West Coast. We've been aging beer in liquor barrels since 2001. And interestingly enough, that release, 2002 Speedway Stout, our barrel-aged Speedway Stout.
That's where you guys blew up.
Yeah, that was the very first #1 rated American beer on ratebeer.com. So since from the history of the internet until that point, it was always Belgian beers, and barrel-aged Speedway Stout was the very first American beer at the very top of that list. So that's a pretty cool distinction. No one can ever take that away from us.
Yeah.
I also think it's pretty cool that we have obviously a ton of bourbon, but we have a very varied.
Yeah, I saw tequila,
Yeah.
I saw rum.
So yeah, I mean, it's cool. I always say that like brewing is much more science than it is art.
It is.
And I definitely think that when it comes to aging beer in barrels, you have a whole heck of a lot more art than science. There's a certain mysticism that goes on.
Well, when you put it in the barrel, you don't know necessarily what you're gonna get.
It's like different galaxies. So like the same beer in the same type of liquor barrel will taste completely different after the same amount of time.
Yeah.
And so the whole goal is to like be able to blend these two flavors together to get that final finished product. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Does this place fill up quite often?
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like this is about a 20-seater.
Yeah, we like to keep it under 15 usually, because on the weekends we are so slammed that we want people to have the opportunity of kind of having like a safe refuge away from the craziness out there.
Yeah.
And so it's like it's a very different drinking experience than it is maybe in our tasting room when, you know, music is playing and there's a lot of people around having fun. So you can kind of come in here, escape the noise in the crowd for a second, and then go back out. Yeah. Nut Brown. It was aged in some barrels, some rum barrels that we picked up from Malahat Distilling, which is down the road.
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
And then this one is barrel aged Old Numbskull.
Nice.
Old Numbskull is our American barley wine.
Yeah.
Did you guys try this one already?
No, I just
okay,
know
cool.
Old Numbskull.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of one of our gold medal darlings. It's a beer that we've won quite a few times at GABF with. Aged in bourbon barrels. Nice kind of oaky charm to it.
Alright guys, so we tried all the beers here at Alesmith, and it's time to tell you which ones our favorites were. So Jacob, you want to start?
So it was really difficult for me. Partly because most of my beers were variations on the same beer.
Speedway Stout, Speedway Stout, Speedway Stout, and Speedway Stout.
So you may have guessed, but I picked Speedway Stout. The real reveal is which one. So it was very difficult. They were all very different, despite being the same base beer. But at the end of the day, my favorite one actually ended up being the Celestial Dawn version of Speedway Stout, which is a version with a Modern Times coffee added to it. And I just really liked what the Modern Times coffee added. I felt it was the creamiest, just the smoothest, and to me the most memorable. Even though I did really like the double barrel of that, bourbon port was definitely noteworthy. For me, it just didn't quite hit the spot that I wanted in this moment right now. Celestial Dawn, from the first time I had it, like just that first instance, it got the job done. It was what I wanted more of, and yeah, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, he is. And not to mention, earlier going into their speakeasy here, we got to try some other very special hidden release beers there. They were also phenomenal, really awesome. If you get a chance to come here, try to get in the speakeasy. You got to know their passcode, so you got to follow Alesmith on Instagram in order to figure that out, so make sure you follow them.
But Barrel Age Old Numbskull, very nice. That was definitely right up in that top 3.
Yeah. Now for me, I mean, there were a lot of choices to make here, because to be honest with you, I mean, the way that I fell in love with Alesmith was through Speedway. I mean, when it comes to stouts, it's one of the best. They had told us that when they did their barrel-aged Speedway Stout in 2015 or 2002, in 2002, it ranked #1 beer anywhere in the world, and it's the only American beer at that point that's ranked #1, and that's something that'll live forever in the craft beer community.
Yeah, first to dethrone those Belgians.
Yes. And to be honest with you, I mean, there's very good reason for it. If you're a stout fan and you haven't tried Alesmith Speedway or any variation, you need to do that. That's got to be like a must on your list. But you know what? Like, I already know Speedway Stout, and I mean, we tried some killer variations. They were awesome. But to me, it's the season of Oktoberfest, and I needed me some German Marzen right now, baby. I needed it. This is purely based on just time of the year, personal preference, like, that's it. This is not the best beer of the day.
That's not entirely it. It is very good.
Oh yeah, no, it's phenomenal.
Even all of the Speedway that I tried, after trying that, I was like, Yeah, that's really nice.
I just don't want you guys to think when you come to Alesmith to be super disappointed that they don't have Oktoberfest, because it must be like the only amazing beer that they have on tap.
Fair.
This is one of those places where it's like picking your favorite child. We've said that before. It's a hard decision to make. This came down to, if I want another pour of something, what do I want right now? This is what I want. And to be honest with you, it's because when I drink it, it takes me back to Oktoberfest. I'm in my imaginary lederhosen. I'm like singing Sweet Caroline in the beer tents. I'm watching Australians throw up on each other. Germans pass out on park benches. If you've been to Oktoberfest in Munich, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to go so you know what I'm talking about. But regardless, back to the beer, super smooth, great German malts, light body, finish is great, it's just good. So I'm just gonna keep drinking it.
I can't really argue with that. I mean, it's kind of like why I picked Celestial John version of Speedway Stout. Yeah, the barrel-aged versions were very interesting, but at the end of the day, I think I wanted something just a hair lighter. And that ended up being this one. So,
Literally a hair lighter.
Literally a hair lighter, yeah.
There you go, guys.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it here at Alesmith Brewing in San Diego, California.
Thanks so much to Joanna and John for your hospitality. It was really great touring Alesmith with you guys. You really showed us just the ins and outs, and were just so helpful and nice to us. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, the beers, if you didn't know already, were incredible. We had a great time.
Yeah.
Totally worth the drive out to San Diego. If you live in Orange County, you got to come here and check this place out. Join the Order of the Anvil, because to me it sounds like
I think
it's the way to go.
You're going to be in for some really solid beers, some very interesting experimentation, and a good lineup.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it for you guys, please like, share, favorite, and subscribe this. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your other beer buddies. We had a lot of fun, and we hope that you had fun watching this and learning about Alesmith, because as much as Alesmith is a huge name in craft beer, I had never been to this location. And have you?
No, and it's totally worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Holy crap.
Come down here, guys. It's great.
So until next time, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you again on Let's Have Some Beer. Cheers.